Hello and good morning, good afternoon and good evening to you. Wherever you are in this world, I wish you well. Welcome to another episode of the Sacred Raven podcast. Grab yourself a nice cup of tea and let's get cozy. There are multiple ways to connect with the spiritual world. The other side, if you will. Meditation, whether guided or self-controlled. Divination through tarot and oracle cards. Hydromancy, just to name a few. Last night, I sat on my bed and used the Enchanted Spellboard by Amy Zerner and Monty Farber. Think of it akin to the Ouija board, but more whimsical and light. It's quite colorful, with images and icons of gemstones, angels, trees, zodiac signs, letters, numbers, and the cardinal directions. Its planchette is round with a lilac translucent hue to it. I've had it for about 20 years and I'm quite familiar with it. The planchette moves easily and quickly underneath the light vibration of my fingertips. I didn't use it for too long though, as I wasn't even really sure what I wanted to know. But I connected with an ancestor of mine. I never asked if they were female, but I felt she was. She gave me her first initial of B and informed me she passed in 1901 at the age of 24. She did not want to discuss how she died, but she stated she was on my father's side. I have an account on Ancestry.com, and I do not recall at this moment if I have come across anyone with the first initial of B dying in 1901. That's something for me to research later. In so many words and symbols, she told me that I was to stop looking into my career and financial situation. I admit, I worry about that quite often. That alone takes up the majority of one of the generational traumas and patterns I am in the midst of breaking. It's been a work in progress. And with that said, I inquired about love and health, and generally, if there was anything of importance I needed to know right now. I received a few answers, and I'm looking forward to seeing if any of it comes true. I then went to bed happy and honored to have connected with another ancestor. She was quite lovely, and I wish to chat with her again. I woke up this morning wanting to spend time in nature. Before walking out the door, I spent a few minutes playing with a couple of small oracle decks. A card from the Druid Wisdom deck stated to make a wish upon the wind, and in doing so, love would find me. Noted. I walked out the door shortly after and headed towards the conservation area nearby. I am so thankful for it. There are many trails to take. And this time, I felt pulled to find a pond that has eluded me in years prior. After about 2 miles, I came upon a small opening in the brush. And there it was. The pond glistened under the sun. There were lily pads with several white lotus flowers already bloomed. And several large boulders sat above the water a good ways out. I instantly felt calm and in awe at the same time. I stood there for a few minutes and just took in the scenery. There wasn't anyone else on the trail. It felt peaceful. And my mind wasn't spinning about this, that, and the other thing. And then a moment of silence occurred. There was no wind. The birds and the chipmunks weren't chirping. And in that moment, suddenly the words from the card this morning flashed in my mind. I smiled and closed my eyes. I asked the wind to come and instantly felt a breeze. I remember thinking, wow, that was fast. And then I softly spoke my wish for a love. I am not telling you what I specifically said, but I will say that I did state a few details. Immediately, the wind picked up, and as I started to open my eyes, a bullfrog began croaking. It startled me because it was so close. It was to the left of me, maybe a foot away. And though I bent down a few times, I couldn't see it. And then a second one chimed in. And this one was to the right and probably about 5 feet away. They went back and forth for a couple of minutes. I instantly knew my wish had been received. I thanked the elements and the beings and continued on my way. Not more than 100 yards further down the trail did I walk into an inlet for the pond. I had no idea this was here. I couldn't see it from the direction I came in. And I wouldn't call it a beachy area, but there was ample space to sit down and relax. So I did just that. But I think I was meant to find that little opening on the trail I walked. Don't get me wrong, this inlet and entrance to the pond was quite lovely, but it didn't offer the same view. I could not see the boulders, and I definitely did not hear any frogs. And even though I relaxed there for a bit, I was half expecting to see someone walk to this area from the trail I didn't come from. I felt that moment for me, for my wish, was divinely orchestrated. After a few more minutes of resting and picking up some trash others left behind, I headed back home. And sure enough, within a few minutes of leaving, I passed by a woman heading in the direction of the pond. Yep, it was divinely orchestrated. And now I sit here, outside on my back patio, with my cat Gizmo in an outdoor cage, and many chipmunks running around. I am listening to the birds and the breeze through the trees, and I am reminded of the connections I have made. Last night with an ancestor, and today with the wind, trees, sunlight, frogs, and now the earth as I have made sure to walk barefoot across my lawn. Oh, and I must not forget the chipmunks. We have many of them scurrying around the yard. In fact, when I got home, I even saved one from being stuck in between some cement blocks that are stacked up against the house. And it's a part of my morning routine to put out a handful of nuts on the front steps. One or two of the chipmunks burrowed out in the front yard has me trained. It will sit on the top step and chirp incessantly until I open the front door, place out a handful of food onto the step, and say, "Good morning, Chippy. Have a good day." Upon closing the screen door, it will run over to the food pile and start munching away. Honestly, it's cute, and I love it. But to think of the several connections I've made within a 24-hour period. I know most people, when they think of a connection with another, they automatically think about connection with another human being. But you can have many different types of connections. Even though you can't see it, you can feel the wind. That energy touches your skin even if you don't want it to. Talking with those who have passed can happen in a myriad of ways. I just happened to use a spirit board this last time. And most often than not, the deceased can and will visit people in their dreams. It's said that that is actually the easiest way for them to connect with us. It's because our consciousness is out of the way when we sleep. Of course, remembering what you dream about when you wake up is a completely different story. I don't remember my dreams the majority of the time, but I know I'm connecting with others in them. And who and what you connect with is entirely up to you. But it is important to note that you don't want to just connect with every energy that comes your way, whether here in the physical world or out in the ethereal world. Not every human has pure and just intentions, and the same goes for those who have passed. Discernment is key. I admit that I am not entirely sure that rule applies to nature, though. Are there plants that should not be touched because they can cause physical harm? Yes, of course. You don't want to prick yourself on a cactus, nor do you want to ingest something poisonous. And for that, I would use discernment. But to talk to them, I feel like you would be okay. I've spoken to many plants and trees in my lifetime, and I've never come across one that was having a bad day or giving off negative energy. In fact, some of them felt misunderstood, and most genuinely want happiness and peace on this planet. So when it comes to connecting with others, whether it's human, ghostly, animal, or elemental, and by the means in which you connect, I feel it's beneficial to be open, to see who or what comes your way, and then decide at that moment if it's worth keeping the connection or not. Some connections are meant to be fleeting and only last a few minutes, if not seconds. Some are meant to come and go, and others to stay a while. And be open to offering reciprocity, even if it is softly saying a thank you after you've made a request from the heart. Favorable outcomes always comes from that. Thank you for joining me in this episode. I appreciate you taking the time to share this space with me. If this has resonated with you, please take a second to follow or subscribe, leave a review or comment, or share this with someone who may be venturing down a spiritual path and has a hunger to learn and grow. I will see you next time. Stay cozy and take care.